Hey, VC here. So I'm just gonna sort of riff off this video. I actually haven't watched this drone video yet of me snagging this KOM near my house. My wife had just helped me film the beach cruiser video. If you haven't watched that, you should definitely do it. But this is immediately after that effort. So I was pooped for sure. I mean, I went 13 minutes. It's like 14 minutes full gas on that freaking beach cruiser, dude. Then on the way down the mountain, we got some B-roll to make that video. And then, I'm gonna ride home. My wife's gonna go home. I'm gonna ride home. And but it's like, dude, I can't leave here without the KOM. And I know that I can get it just because the guy who has it, Jonathan Aropkin, he was out like exploring, right? He was just cruising around, like no big deal, and then found this road. But the thing is that the road's pretty steep, and Jonathan Aropkin is strong. So I mean, his time is not. I mean, you do have to go kind of for it, right? I mean, he definitely was not going super slow, but he wasn't like full gas. And so what's kind of interesting is that I don't really know how much time I'm going to gain on my Canyon, right? My 16-pound Canyon versus my 35-pound, beach cruiser. I will say, though, that I went maybe 100% effort on the beach cruiser. And here I'm probably more, I think I probably more was like 75 to 85%. I kind of, after this first little pitch, was just feeling it from that first effort because I had gone so deep on the first one. But what is interesting is that, on the Strava, right? So on the beach cruiser, I did 13:53, and then on the Canyon I did 11:27. But around the same watts, to be honest. I mean, now on the Canyon, the stage's power meter does read fairly low. It seems like it feels like it maybe doesn't update the data points of the power as often, so it sort of maybe gets stuck at a low. Anyway, whatever. I think the power meter on this Canyon is a little bit off from my power tap pedals, at least. So maybe power tap reads high and stages reads a little low, but then that difference is big. But so 11:27 on the Canyon, 13:53 on the beach cruiser. I mean, what is that, like 2.5 minutes? I mean, 2.5 minutes on a 14-minute climb, 11 to 14-minute climb. I mean, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, right? Like, the difference is, I mean, what's this? My Canyon probably prices in around $6 to $7 grand right now, and the beach cruiser was 500. So I mean, if you're thinking, let's just say 7 grand, like $6,500 to go 2.5 minutes faster. That's nuts, right? I mean, obviously, it's not like I'm going to start riding the beach cruiser everywhere. The Canyon is freaking amazing, but it is crazy, like those marginal gains the law of diminishing gains, diminishing returns, when you get further up into what you can do. You know what I mean? Like how much harder for me, or what kind of equipment would it take to go faster on this climb? If I was maybe super aero, everything was as aero as could be, and I spent all this extra money, but it's like, if I spend $1 million more, I'm not going to go way faster, right? There's kind of just a limit to that. But anyway, the climb is pretty steep at the end, and I sort of know that. Obviously, I know that, but so I'm kind of like waiting for that to really kick in, and I'm watching my power, and I'm just sort of kind of bummed at how low the power really is, to be honest. I think for me, the last time when I did the last drone of these, I think I did, like what, almost 400 watts for like 12 minutes or something. So I think I averaged 3:30 on this effort, way off of that. But again, I was on power tap pedals for the other one. I'm on a stages for this one. So those readings, you know, I feel like, because it's not like my fitness dropped 70 watts, you know. Anyways, the weird thing is how weird it feels to be on this bike when I was just on the beach cruiser. So the way that the bike has me positioned, I don't know. It was like when I stood and I was standing, it felt, because I was when I was standing on the beach cruiser, it was in such an awkward angle. I just like, this felt so weird to me. Everything felt so stiff and strange. It's crazy how your body will just sort of adapt to like whatever it's riding, and then that feels normal. And then when you go to something else, you know, if you've ever ridden like mountain bikes and then you go back to a road bike, you know, a mountain bike has like really wide bars. And so when I go back to my road bike after riding my mountain bike for maybe a day or two, dude, the bars feel like so small and I feel so tiny. Everything feels so rigid. It's kind of nuts. This climb takes you up to this really neat kind of community Cascadal Woods. I don't know how you pronounce it. But then there is a climb that I actually did. There's like a little dirt road that kicks up to the left, and it takes you all the way up to this crazy waterfall. And you can ride up it on a road bike because you're not going fast. But then when you come down, it's really loose. The gravel's really bad. Sort of kind of need a mountain bike. And but I've done that ride before. It's super duper cool. I am about to hit this little switchback right here, which, dude, switchbacks always make you feel so pro. And there's the thought of like, do you take the inside? Do you take the outside? Because the inside's way steeper. But I often side with going to the inside, like taking the smallest route and hitting the steepest part and just sort of like kicking up some power. Obviously, depending on where your power is at that point. Right now, I'm sort of low. My average power is low, and I can see on the live segment that I'm up right now by like a minute. So there's not a whole lot of motivation. I just know I have it, and I know that probably no one is going to come and do this climb. This isn't a highly contested climb, so I'm up a minute. I don't really want to be suffering right now. And so the motivation to dig super deep is not there. And that's what's kind of cool about the live segment is you can see this visual representation of, you know, are you close? Are you not close? How hard do you have to go? And that can be good and that can be bad sometimes. I mean, you know, Phil Guyman has a freaking KOM. It's like my favorite climb, a climb I do all the time, and he has it. And so then sometimes I'll run through there and it will pop up and it will just show, I'll be going full gas and it's just, you're down by 30 seconds, you know, you're down by a minute. It's like, dude, come on, I'm going as hard as I possibly can. And I'm super down. So it's kind of like kills the motivation when it's like that. Also to the other end of, you know, this kills my motivation to really suffer. I want to get a good time. The thing that is actually motivating me, which is super funny, is that the drone has about a 12-minute battery life. All right. Now, I don't know, maybe if you used it in a different way, like this is having to make a ton of adjustments. I can hear it behind me, like revving up and zooming around and making all these adjustments because it's auto following me, right? But it's looking at the trees and it's looking at me and it's looking all over the place. So it's doing these little micro adjustments, and that might kill the battery life more. And also that we're going uphill. So it's also having to expend energy to, like, you know, go up. But on the last KOM that I used this drone on, right, we know that the drone lost battery and shut down in the middle of the road, maybe like 100 feet from the finish line or 200 feet from the finish line. And so I don't want that to be the case because I don't want this to drop in the middle of the road. And I'm definitely not going to have put in this type of effort. I mean, you can see my heart rate, it's almost 190. I'm not going to put in this effort to then stop to go back and get my drone. I'm going to want to finish the segment, but I'm so traumatized on what happened last time, and I don't want to lose the drone again. So, I'm like looking at the estimated time of arrival, and it's hovering between 11 minutes and 11:30. But then there was a little bit of time before we even started. So just mentally, I'm like, dude, the drone is about to die. It's gonna die pretty soon. So right now, I am very motivated to get to the finish so that I can have the drone shot of me finishing. And that is what is just, has me right now pushing some watt bombs. 16% right here, dude. Very steep, and it's like it just gradually gets steeper and steeper and steeper. And so at this point, you're kind of exhausted. Then the climb sort of levels out, but it's not over with. So you're gonna have to really dig to go. I think it's so crazy that the beach cruiser was only 2.5 minutes slower. Obviously, I'm not going to get on a beach cruiser and go do a 3-hour ride and be competitive or even anywhere near anybody. The longer you're on it, the more energy that it takes just to like move the bike. But the big tires on it, I don't know, it was just, it's kind of crazy to think how much engineering goes into this canyon and how much thought goes into it. For 2.5 minutes, I love those 2.5 minutes. Don't get me wrong, but it is kind of crazy. I want to do a video where I compare like, $100 bike, maybe $1,000 bike, and then like a $10,000 bike up a climb and see what really the differences are. So right here, 193 is my heart rate. Dude, like I'm suffering. My best ever 1 hour heart rate was 186 or 185. This isn't, but anyway, my heart, I was feeling it right now. And then so I finished and I'm like, yes, dude, sweet. The drone's still here. And then right now the battery's dead. It's going to set down. Yeah. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to go race a crit in Texas, 2 crits in Texas, and I'm headed to the Red Bull Bay climb right now. As always, vegan cyclist. Yeah.